This is a very distressing day for many reasons. First of all, because we've received a rewritten bylaw that we're making a Franken bylaw now. It hasn't had the benefit of study by staff. In fact, what you heard before is that the staff were never ordered to look at or directed to say, do we need this? In the answer to my administrative inquiry about necessity, how did we assess that trespass notices, the criminal code enforcement by police, the bylaw enforcement by municipal licensing and standards is insufficient? That question was never asked or answered. How do we know that we need this bubble zone bylaw? It is because people feel afraid, and I am not going to discount that fear. I'm not here to judge how people feel. But I am going to say that it comes at such a substantive cost to all of us. Because I think what we need to recognize is that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is not just for one group, it's for everyone. And while already the case has been made for the social good that is protest, and it is a social good, and the courts have recognized that it has social purpose many times, I'm going to say that it's actually protest that has put a lot of care into our society, because without it, we wouldn't have had attention to injustices for minorities, for particular communities. I think about my own experience and about how victimization, as my colleague, Councillor Sachs has talked about the Jewish community, is a great concern to me, enormous concern. For many, many years, from 1989 until 2005, the Heritage Front operated in Toronto. Do you know who went out there to stop neo-Nazis from recruiting in high schools? Who went out there to confront them and said, not in our city, not in our territory? It was people like me. It was people like other people in this room. Some of you I recognize, you were out there with us. We put our bodies on the line, and I know people that were beaten, stabbed, broken in that process. It was protest, and it was criticized at the time. Who was out there saying, Ernst Zundel, the largest publisher of Holocaust denied materials in the world, who lived in Toronto, who operated out of a house on Carlton Street? It was people like me. It was people like many of us who went out there. And sometimes there was 300 police officers to protect that particular house, because that was the prevailing notion of the day. But we wanted to have hate laws enforced. We wanted to make sure that when we talk about hate crimes, that it included specifically incitement to genocide and anti-Semitism, because anti-Semitism is a real cancer in society that we have to fight, and we have to acknowledge that it's present. What I fear we're losing in this process is that we're devaluing what that means, what that social discourse means. People being able to stand up and say, you know what, there are other injustices in the world, and I want to give speech to that. Why does even disruptive, peaceful protest matter? Because there are other people suffering in this city right now who have seen injustices, whether here or anywhere in the world, and want to hold their governments accountable. Protests are destined to see government action, to change course around particular things, to have Canada, for example, uphold its obligations under covenants that it signed, international human rights covenants. That is a valid form of speech. It's a useful and important form of speech. What is the alternative? If we shut down the spaces where we see each other as human beings, where we fight polarization by saying, I see your pain and this is my pain, let's talk, let's find a way through this. What are we saying? We're creating more atomization. We don't know each other. We don't see each other. You don't make peace with people that agree with you. You don't build bridges with people that are already on your side. I'm afraid of where we're going. I'm afraid of the dehumanization and polarization is going to grow. And the worst part is that, yes, we've been requested to send a message to the Jewish community, but as many people have said, not that much is going to change. What happens when this is contested and taken to the Supreme Court for a charter violation? What message will that send? I find that solidarity and standing up for each other and standing true for the things that are constitutional in this country are the best line of defense that we have for each other.